Hello, I'm Frank Bruzek. I'm the Chief Financial Officer and board member of this association. I'm going to inform you about a brand new Proxy initiative. Our recent spring newsletter highlights our new lead cable proxy that we are proposing for approval at Verizon's 2024 shareholders meeting. Some of us, including myself, remember the days when our outside cable maintenance splicers had to repair buried or aerial lead sheath cables. Lead sheath cables were installed between 1880 and 1950. When I was a director in operations in the Philadelphia area in the 1980s, we had a lead cable removal program. We removed cables like this one I am holding. I'm sure some of you remember this cable and may be familiar to you. 40 years later, from that removal effort, there are still thousands of abandoned miles of lead cables on poles and in the ground across our whole nation. AT&T estimates nearly 200,000 buried in conduit or aerial cables. Verizon has about 500,000. On July 9, 2023, the Wall Street Journal reported that AT&T, Verizon, and other telecom giants have left behind a sprawling network of cables covered by toxic lead that stretches across the United States. The article reported that the lead degrades. It is ending up in places where America lives, works, and plays. Verizon, however, has stated that lead sheath cables makes up only a small percentage of the miles of the telephone cables. But this estimate has been challenged. A few days after that Wall Street Journal article, Senator Edward Markey from Massachusetts wrote to the United States Telecom Association demanding answers to the questions raised by the journal. Senator Markey stated that the telecommunications companies responsible for these phone lines must act swiftly and responsibly to ensure the mitigation of any environmental and public health risks. He also quoted, "This is a corporate irresponsibility of the worst kind. The members of the U.S. Telecom that are responsible for these lead sheath cables have a duty, both civil and legal. They need to ensure that they do not put Americans in harm's way." Senator Markey requested that the telecom companies answer the following questions. 1. Do the companies know the locations and mileage of lead sheath cables that they own for which they are responsible? 2. Why have the companies that knew about these cables and the potential exposure risks failed to monitor and act upon them? And 3. What plans do the companies have to address the environmental and public health issues posed by these cables? And the companies, he wants to commit to the following: testing, remediation, warning communities of the potential hazards these cables pose, and guaranteeing medical treatment and compensation to anyone harmed by lead poisoning caused by these cables. Now, the EPA has also sent letters to the companies requiring technical reports related to the company's testing and sampling. The EPA is coordinating closely with the Justice Department, whose Southern District of New York is investigating whether telecom companies had knowledge of the potential risk to their workers and the future environmental impacts that they left behind with these lead cables. The EPA said the companies had submitted limited data in response to the separate information requests from both them, the EPA, and the Justice Department. The EPA said it is working with the Justice Department and state agencies to access existing information about cable networks, and they want to determine whether further actions may be required to address risks from lead containing cables. AT&T, Verizon, and other telecom companies' response was that the following regulatory safety guidelines for workers dealing with lead. They say that they offer a robust training and resources, including blood lead testing for workers. They also say that they are cooperating with regulatory investigations. Now, the EPA has tested locations identified by the journal: West Orange, New Jersey, Southwest Pennsylvania, and Louisiana. The EPA has also proposed toughening the safety regulations for lead in soil where children play, and the EPA is expected to announce some new guidance. The EPA has also tested locations outside from many other states that were involved in cable remediation. The EPA ordered AT&T and Verizon to do testing in all those identified locations and determine the possible environmental risks and health risks. Our association always wants Verizon to be a successful company. All actions our association takes against Verizon are in pursuit of protecting all our retirees' hard-earned pension benefits, including their health. We are also concerned about share owners, and we are also concerned about present and future environmental effects. As a result, we have introduced this new proxy to present at this year's Verizon share owners meeting. Now, Verizon has argued to the SEC that this proxy be denied because we were engaging in their ordinary business. Well, our legal team sent a rebuttal and won. The SEC supports our proxy initiative. The SEC agreed with us that our proxy should be admitted. So, in conclusion, our proxy only asks Verizon to just be transparent and proactive on this issue. We are asking for an assessment of all potential sources of liability related to abandoned cables. We are asking for a full mapping of all locations impacted and an estimate of remediation costs. And finally, we're asking for a cost-effective prioritization of sites that pose the most health risk. So, when your ballot comes, please vote yes. And if you know anyone else that you could recommend to vote yes that have a vote, please do so.